Well, hello everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Wednesday, 6 o'clock. This is Bob Dickerson with In the Black coming to you on a stormy Wednesday. I hope that all of you are safe and weather alert. That's one thing that I will say about my family. We are always weather alert. I am sitting on the on the bottom level. I've been down here for a while. Hey, Allison. Kyra, William Spells. Now, my daughter Allison, I know she is definitely weather alert. She called me earlier when there was some weather headed this way out in Gardendale. She made sure that I was aware and that we were safe. And so thank you for that. But I hope all of you are weather alert, that you got some sort of radio. Kyra, how you doing? You got some kind of radio or some kind of, and you can get it with your cell phone now. And so just make sure that that you're staying aware. We want you to stay safe. We don't want anything to happen to any of you because we love you. We want to keep you around. How about that? So so we're gonna get on and get off and let you get back to the TV so you can figure out what's happening with the weather that's near us in Jefferson County and other parts of Alabama this evening. So roll tide. Hey, I don't think I have ever seen Alabama as a number 2 seed. And I went back and did some research, and I think it showed that Alabama won a national championship in the 20s. Well, obviously, I didn't remember that. But anyway, so, you know, Alabama, which is not necessarily noted as a basketball school, has really, really done well this year. So congratulations to all the players and Coach Oates and you know, and they've got a tough draw. They're actually in probably one of the toughest brackets, even though they're number 2. They start out with Iona, but they got folks like UConn and Maryland, Michigan State, Texas, BYU, kind of waiting, and sooner or later they're going to have to face you know, one of those kind of basketball powerhouse schools. One of those schools is really noted for basketball. But anyway, and I was thinking, and I couldn't remember, but I was thinking about schools that had won football championships like Alabama did. Remember, Tide rolled over Ohio State back in the national championship game. But football schools that have been successful enough to win basketball, I know y'all saw that. That was the the long arm of the law, reaching past. So anyway, football schools that have won basketball championships are really, you know, just competed for national championships in basketball. And I really thought about Florida because, you know, there were some years when Florida was really competitive in both. I'm not sure if they didn't win both the football and basketball championship once, but I can't. I didn't do the research, so you can let me know if I'm right about that. Oklahoma, when they had those few years, they did have really good basketball teams. They've always had good football teams and been competitive for national championships. Ohio State, there were some years that Ohio State put basketball teams on the floor that that were really competitive. And then, of course, you got Michigan and Michigan State. So I wasn't really sure, but anyway, roll tide. Hey, Richie Lou, how you doing? Sean Thurman, how you doing today, man? Georgia Tech won a national championship and a football. Really? I had to check on that, Rich. Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. I know there was a time they really were one. Yeah, Florida won both 1 year. That's what I thought. Without doing my research, I was pretty good about that. So anyway, roll tide. So a few things that we got to talk about, and I want to start off with this anti-Asian violence. You know, this kind of stuff is allowed. Oh, by the way, what's the name of that stuff? Duce. I'm back on the Duce. I'm in my Roll Tide Alabama Cup. Duce is real smooth. It is Wednesday. No, Florida. Yeah, I said Florida, Richard, I think. Didn't I? My bad if I didn't, but Florida won them both. Anyway, the Duce is real smooth. real nice. And some kind of way, I think, is it Jay-Z or
Yeah.
Jay-Z has something to do with it. So, we try to keep it real, try to keep it down home, try to keep it black if we can. So you want to support, black people and black businesses. But back to this anti-Asian violence, it's kind of, it's been, Carnell Rotat, it's been sort of endorsed and allowed by people at these highest levels, that it's okay to be non-PC, not politically correct. And so that's been translated to being downright mean and hateful toward each other. So maybe PC was helping when it controlled people's behavior. And so the anti-PC that came from the highest levels really kind of promoted this fact that you could say anything, do anything. And we've seen all of that stuff play out. And here now we have a young man who obviously is disturbed. I think that somebody who kills 8 people is disturbed. I don't think that there's any way that you could argue with me and say that, it's not something wrong with him. There's something wrong with anybody who commits that kind of heinous crime. But we've got to understand that what a lot of folks are doing, and we've had a lot of people in highly placed folks in office, like our former president and others, whose rhetoric allows folks to act out on those kinds of feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas. We've got to control that. So, my condolences to the families of those women who were killed. 6 of 8 of them were Asian. Robert Aaron Long is the guy that obviously did it. He's certainly the suspect who did it. He's been arrested. Amazing how folks get arrested for murdering multiple folks. Dylan Roof comes to mind, who killed the 9 people in the church in Charleston. And then other folks get killed for trying to pass off a $20 bill. So, and just thinking about this, George Floyd, the family gets the $27 million. They're trying to pick a jury. And so what I did a little research and found this out, that this was not the first time that Chauvin has kneeled on somebody's neck. I think 7 or 8 times he has used this kneeling on someone's neck tactic. So that was nothing new to him. What I would really be curious to find out is how many of those necks belong to black people. And I'd really like to find that out. But finding a jury that has never, yes, the car chase, right, very peaceful, in South Georgia, hundreds of miles away, was where they found Robert Aaron Long, and they arrested him with no issues. But anyway, this guy is kneeling on folks' necks. Neck kneeling is not new to him. So then, we get this $27 million settlement. I'm sure the family, deserves that. And hopefully they will put it to good use. But yeah, I don't know if that is a case that got a lot of publicity. A couple of jurors have already been either dismissed or voluntarily dismissed because they followed the news coverage and thinks that that kind of settlement might impact whether or not you think he's guilty or not. It's kind of difficult to find him totally innocent because we got the video evidence of him, with his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I mean, that's there's no way in the world you can whitewash that or call that anything else. So, and then on top of all that, well, I need a drink to tell you this part, because your girl, Candace Owens, is still at it. And I don't know what her deal is, but, she's still trying to disparage the memory of George Floyd. I mean, she's still calling him, out of his name and talking about him and saying negative things about this man who has died. And it's just, I'm not sure who she's trying to play to or what game she's trying to play. But it's real interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It's real sad that people have given her voice, and she's using that voice to disparage a dead man and to play to some of these same folks, these supremacists, these white supremacists, these anarchists, and these racists. And speaking of racists, this guy, Ron Johnson, I mean, Senator Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, I mean, he beats all. Well, no, he doesn't beat Trump. I don't know if he beats Lindsey Graham or not. Well, Lindsey is he's closeted at some points. Richie Lou said she is a self-hating Negro. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, this Ron Johnson is really making a play for Trump's base. He's really making a play for Trump's base. So he says that the folks we saw on January 6th breaking the windows at the Capitol building, beating policemen, shooting bear spray in folks' faces, marching down the halls, putting their feet on people's offices, climbing on scaffolds, shouting, "Hang Mike Pence," saying on front of the cameras that the folks in Congress ought to be killed for treason. These folks, he says, oh, no, we weren't worried about them because they were nonviolent, patriotic Americans. Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, all right, Richard Lewis. Florida is the only school in NCAA Division I history to hold the both championships at the same time. Go ahead on. See, there we go. Yeah. But now I digress. And so Ron Johnson, pro-white supremacy, idiotic statements, trying to embrace Trump's base. And so just thinking about that made me reflect on something that I read, and it's a thought. And of course, Ron Johnson is a Republican member of the Senate. And we thought Tuberville was bad. I'll drink to Tuberville being bad. Ron Johnson is proven to be worse. So just think about this. And I think I know some people who are Republican. By the way, I know some black folks who are Republican. And I don't dislike them. And, they're, to each his own. I don't know how you could really embrace being a Republican after Trump or during or after Trump. I mean, that's going to be something that a lot of us need to think about. I mean, to be honest with you, no matter what your race, you ought to have to think about what the party stands for that didn't stand up to Trump and correct him when he took this country down the path that we've gone. But the thought is, most Republicans are not racist. Hey, Buffy, most Republicans are not racist, but most racists are Republicans. So what is happening, the Republican Party is now speaking to the white nationalists, the KKK, or the neo-KKK, the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, the vigilantes, the paramilitary folks, QAnon. Oh yeah, thank you. So that's the Republican Party is saying to these folks, come on in. We embrace you and they're talking about radical left-wing folks. These are some radical right-wing folks that all got guns and know how to make bombs and don't mind, some of them don't mind dying and would storm the Capitol and go to jail and smile for the camera while breaking the law. Anyway, so this is something to be concerned about, and I can say it with a bit of levity, but it's not funny. Okay, I want to make sure that nobody thinks that because I'm sitting here on Wednesday and I'm sitting at my bar and I'm having a little douce that This essay fine, okay, not in the least. So I was thinking about this piece. So we had this song, "Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruit plains, America. God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea." And we sing those words as children. And, as kind of relatively naive children, yeah, we believed that, and we knew, those were words I think we sung with our hearts. But we can clearly see right now that what's happening in America is we're having a negative reaction to demographic changes. We're having a negative reaction to demographic changes. They see the changes. They see America becoming browner and browner. I don't know if browner might not even be a word, but that's what's happening. And so the reaction from many whites is negative. Now, this isn't the first time that the demography in this hemisphere changed, I might point out. And every time I hear somebody say this is a white country, I cringe and I want to correct them, because that's not what it is. I mean, any student of history or anybody who's going to be honest about it will understand that white people are not the indigenous people to this hemisphere. They're not. And check this out. So most of us and most of them express a belief in God, a supreme being who is wise, all-knowing, omnipotent, the creator of this universe. Well, that God placed people in different regions of the world, and those people from the various regions have some identifying characteristics. And those include skin color, appearance, features, complexion, facial structure, noses, hair texture and color, eye color. Well, the people God put over here are the folks that we would call brown. Now, what we don't have is we're not restricted as it relates to travel. But the truth of the matter is, this hemisphere, the natives of this hemisphere are folks that we will refer to as brown. And just like you put brown people here, and you put black people in Africa, he put folks in Asia, he put people in China, he put people in Europe. And here's the deal: no one would call China, Nigeria, or any Polynesian island white. You just wouldn't do it, because what the folks that are native and indigenous to that part of this earth look like. So, and keep in mind, I'll go back, the first change in demography in this hemisphere came with a couple of things. It came with explorers, conquerors, and settlers. Explorers that explored from Europe, the quote unquote new world. Wasn't anything new about it. It was here the same time Europe was here. The people that's been here were here about the same time folks were in Europe. Okay. So let's don't worry about the new world, but it was new to them. So the explorers led way to the conquerors. Those are the folks that came over with the armies and with the disease and with the tricks, and they got rid of the folks that they found here for the most part. And then the settlers came and said, "Oh, this is my land. I stake my claim. I survey it off. I'm growing my crops. I'm raising my cattle. I'm making a deed to myself, and I own it." And we know about the racism. We know about the genocide. We know about the enslavement. But none of that alters the fact that the indigenous population of this place we now call America is not white. So yeah, we become a melting pot. There might come a time when race might not matter. I don't know, but it seems way, way, way in the distant future. Right now, white people and folks like Ron Johnson are reacting to this demographic change in some ways that I think are hurtful and harmful to this country. In order to hold on to power, those folks who will soon be in a minority are trying to set up the American version of apartheid, where the few rule the many. Concentration of wealth, hoarding the resources, it hurts us, and it actually puts the entire American middle class at risk. Favoring this legislation that maintains power in a group that won't have the majority of the population, but will own and control everything. The voter suppression in a country that was built on the freedom to express your political objections and objectives through the voting box, through the ballot. One man, one vote. That's what we talked about. All these tactics and schemes are that we're seeing play out every day are ways for people to stay in power. And then on top of that, as I said, this resurgence of overt racism, the new Klan, white supremacy, paramilitary groups, and some of this is being actually demonstrated by some of the folks that we got in the highest office. We've had a president that is obviously a racist. We got members of Congress that are obviously racist. We got Congresses in many states that are actively right now as we speak, engaging in, they've got think tanks to figure out how to suppress the vote of Black and brown folks, because they know that's the only way that they're going to be able to stay in power and stay in office. So America, the beautiful or otherwise, you know, America is and was an experiment. And I'll tell you, at this moment, America is facing a crossroads. So will the majority of Americans in years to come have the right to vote and to rule? Will the middle class disappear? Will hard work be a formula for gain or simply survival? You know, in America, hard work and ingenuity and going to work every day for a company, you know, was supposed to get you more than just the ability to pay your bills. But will hard work, will being smart be a formula for gain so you get a piece of it, or are you going to have to work your butt off just to survive? Because all of this wealth we've sent up to the top 1% has been created on the backs of the 90%. And the 90% are reaping the benefits. So where are we? We're on this crossroad. Will America ever truly and honestly, openly, truthfully, and honestly tell the truth and atone for its sins? Or will these words we see in these founding documents, forming a more perfect union, all men created equal, one man, one vote, opportunity for self-determination, is all of that, are those just words? Or can we put those words into action? Because if we can't, they'll just be words and they'll be relegated to being on the shelf of some library and some history book. Hey, stay weather alert. Be safe, be careful. I wish you the best. This is Bob Dickerson within the Black. Talk to you again next week.